Welcome to another exciting episode of the Business of Digital podcast, featuring your hosts, Matt Siltala and Dave Rohr. Hey guys, excited to have you join us on another Business of Digital podcast. Before we jump into it, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the MarTech Conference. They're coming to San Jose, April 3rd through the 5th, in Boston in September, the 16th through the 18th. So join host and program chair Scott Brinker for a diverse agenda that delivers strategic insights into marketing, technology, and management. And because we love you here at Business of Digital, we are going to save you money. Register with the promo code BIZPODCAST, that's all one word, lowercase, BIZPODCAST, and it's going to save you 15% off that conference. And so for more information, of course, you could always visit the martechconf.com website. That's just martechconf, conference, just only conf, conf.com. So, all right, we are here. And before I say hi to Dave, I'm mad at Dave because he wrote the exact opposite title that I wanted him to. The title of this episode he has as Matt Says SEO is Dead. And I, in fact, did not say that SEO is dead, mister.
You totally did.
But
I am going to totally doctor that screenshot of the discussion we had somewhere.
You're going to get us a lot of clicks and a lot of hate for me for saying, that SEO is dead. When in fact, guys,
not me.
I I actually reached out to Dave and I was telling him, because we chat on occasion, as you may know, and we toss around ideas for episodes, and I had the idea of, because I getting these emails or I'm reading these articles about like something is dead, and I know that back in episode 40 we did a discussion on link building being dead, but this is going to be more of a broader, if you will, because I remember, just to give you an example, Dave, I remember 6 years ago someone telling me infographics were dead and that we should stop doing infographics. And infographics are still very alive and strong, and obviously the way that they're done and promoted and used has evolved and has grown, but they're not dead. And if I would have listened to those people 6 years ago, I wouldn't have built one of the core components of our business at Avalanche Media. And so that also helped grow into so many other things and visuals and whatnot. And it all came from just the simple ideas. When we were first creating infographics, we didn't even know they were called infographics. That's not, we were creating these type of things years before the quote unquote industry gave it a name of infographics, Dave. And so anyway, that's really kind of like my purpose. And, I just wanted to talk on the fact that you shouldn't always be listening to everything people say when they say that SEO is dead, or they say that some component of whatever is dead. And, there's just a lot of times, unfortunately, I think people write crap just to get the clickbait. They write it just because they want people to have the controversy. This could even morph into a discussion, Dave, about how, some people do stupid, insane, dumb things on social media just to get, people talking about them. Just they do the negative stuff so they can get the PR. Any kind of PR is good PR, right? Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a rant now, but basically that's kind of where I wanted our discussion to lead into, and how we just have to think for ourselves, Dave. We can't just keep listening to someone that says X is dead and take it for law or word. So.
Yeah, SEO is dead, social is dead, email is dead.
Mail is dead.
Yeah, everything is dead, or millennials are killing something, which sometimes they probably do.
Grocery store, or what is it? They say that millennials killed
all of the things except for
industry?
Avocado toast.
Yes.
Everything but avocado toast.
Yeah, avocado toast.
Yeah. Pretty much everything is their fault, which is fine because I'm not one of them. Well, maybe I am. If I am, then I take all of that back. Well, I think it's just the following of the hive mind for anything, and of course, everything we talk about, I'm almost saying that don't listen to us in a way, because anything that people say is a best practice isn't always a best practice.
Yeah.
anything that, and people take everything that Google, you know, bless their soul, you know, John and everyone from there that ever talks about and does he's talking about a specific example. Now, whether he knows everything about your site when he says that specific example, no, you know,
or audience or anything. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think for some businesses, and you know, the example that we were talking about right before we hopped on here was, for me, it was like when Facebook first started and companies got to have their own pages, everyone was spending tons of money.
Yeah.
And one of the metrics they cared about was how many followers they had. And they were spending tons and tons of money for people that never would have cared about their company to like their page so that they could broadcast to them. And then what happened?
How's that worked out for you?
And now the reach is what, 1%, 2% organically, and now you have to pay more money to advertise to them because it's not your platform. And at the same time, for those years, everyone was saying email's dead. But now I keep hearing that more and more people are looking at email or doing email because it's your own, you own that list. You own that, that's your own, you know, your own little way of reaching out to them. And all you have to do is, yeah, you have to still pay some money, but it's your own list. It's your own platform, really.
I think
you can take that anywhere.
You know, as we get more into this, I think what they should be saying, Dave, instead of SEO is dead or email is dead or whatever is dead, I think what they should start doing is saying SEO done the way it was done 15 years ago is dead. Or
it's just evolved.
Exactly. And see, that's my point. And that's kind of what I wanted to segue into. Instead of, you know, the focus being on like, hey, infographics is dead or whatever it happens to be is dead. Let's focus on, okay, the way that it was done 8 years ago is no longer viable. And again, you know, when I first got into this industry and I was, you know, I considered myself an SEO, and that's really all I did. You know, I did a lot of link building, the technical on-site stuff and things like that. Now, if I was to only just do it the way that I was doing it back then, I would have never grown a business. If I was doing infographics the way that I was doing when we first started doing them, I would never have grown a business. If I was doing PR, email, anything the way that I was doing it back then, you know, it would be dead. Like, it has to grow. It has to evolve. Like, think about, you know, how much time and energy, Dave, did you ever spend on link building with directory submissions and things like that?
Some, not a lot.
Now, can you imagine spending any time, you know, doing any kind of directory submissions nowadays? Unless it's evolved into one of those type of directories that actually is still good. You know, I know like local citations.
So local citations is probably really all I do now for local businesses.
Exactly.
And maybe a couple others, but
that's the point, right? It's evolved.
Yeah, and it should. Well, Google and Bing and even, you know, DuckDuckGo and how people use everything has evolved. I don't know the numbers offhand as I'm thinking it through, what percentage of people, and I know there's discussions going around voice search and how it's going to kill people typing in stuff. And, you know, because everyone has these home devices, how everything's going to crush it. And then they did studies and show that most people are just asking what the weather is or what time it is or play a song. Yeah. They're not saying, hey, Amazon, order me the first result for XYZ. Sure, some people do.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the number of people they were expecting it. You know, my 5-year-old's favorite thing to do is go, hey, Siri, what's the weather? Hey, Siri, tell me a joke. And if you're playing this on your speakers, hey, Amazon, tell me, or hey, Alexa, tell me a joke.
I don't know why, but it reminds me of that Super Bowl commercial with Harrison Ford and the dog just, you know, kept ordering all that food by his barking through his collar or whatever it was. Anyway, I don't know why I thought of that just now.
Well, the Burger King did the thing where it what did it do? It played a song or something for people, I think. I'll look it up and put it in the thing in the write-up. I totally forget what that one was. But yeah, everything changes. There's carousels now, there's knowledge graphs, there's not just 10 links, there's local packs, depending on what you're looking at.
That's the perfect example. Like, think about how we did image search 10 years ago compared to how, you mentioned carousel, and it just made me think of just like how people are found with image, how you do like image optimization, and then it could lead to just everything, just how it's all evolved and how it all gets better. And there's things that dictate how it gets better. For example, years ago, maybe we didn't really care about the site speed as much as now Google says, hey, we're going to rank you better on site speed. We're going to rank you better on X, Y, and Z. So there's things that maybe back in the day we didn't care about as much that we care about now, that we have more focus on because of things. Again, goes back to evolving. So the point here, guys, is and again, like David and I are not prophets by any means. We're not like prophesying anything, but all we're trying to do is just say, like, stop listening to every stupid little article that you read that says SEO is dead, or, something is dead. Just, if it's working for you, keep figuring out how to make it work for you, how to make it work better, how to evolve with it, how to grow with it. If certain things within that industry are changing, like with us, what we found with infographics, there's a lot less people that are viewing those infographics on PCs and more viewing them on mobile devices or tablets. And so how can we make those images load faster and make more sense? And, when we're doing interactive graphics, how can we make those work, not just on the desktop, but how do we identify that people are on a mobile or tablet and still can have that interactivity and stuff like that? You just have to evolve with it. Now, again, I 100% agree that it's dead if you don't evolve, but you have to evolve. And that's the point here.
And we did what we did. Episode 40 was Link Building is Not Dead, where we talked about all the different things you can do for link building. And I think going back to just because someone says best practices or this is the best, or my other favorite is based on looking at all of these different thousands of social accounts, these are the tweets or the Facebook posts that got the most interaction. The problem they don't say is we looked at 12 different industries and hundreds of different companies, some that have big budgets, some that don't, some that create poor quality stuff, some that don't. This is the number we come up with. Tuesday at 2:00, everyone should post. Well, what happens? Everyone posts at Tuesday at 2:00, and suddenly that is the worst time to post. So I think whether it is this is the best to do for X, test it. Test it for yourself. I think we pretty much say this every time, but for every best practice guide, take it with a grain of salt that for their company or the companies that agency worked at, or the person that when there was in-house worked on this type of brand, what works for CNN or what works for Amazon is not going to work for you. If your boss says, but Amazon is doing it, point out the size and number of tests that they probably run, which I think was like 600 tests or some ridiculous, like they run like multiple tests a day. They've tested all this stuff.
They have more budget to spend on tests than you'll ever have to spend on your business, period.
Yeah, probably. Most companies, yeah. I'm sure they do. Yeah, if you have a marketing team of 4, I bet you they have at least 5 people just doing, crazy data analysis for the tests that they are running. And, your entire marketing team doesn't even equal their data team that just supports that. Just because a large company, and that's the other thing, just because a large company does it, doesn't mean it'll work for you. If Wendy's does something or McDonald's does something, remember that they have 15,000 locations.
Yeah.
Remember that when they roll out a new product, they product test it in a few markets. They probably do some of their other testing too for different locations and different banner ads and different everything, online and offline. So just because it works for someone else and they say suddenly it's a best practice, it's not always true. There's a number of reasons why they might have done what they do. a lot of times, especially for SEOs, this is the best way to do it. Becomes, well, from a technical standpoint, we can't because here's our marketing stack and here's this and here's that. And also from a business point, the dev resources that you're going to request to do that is not practical. And that person that knows it is tied up for the next 6 months. So if you want this done, you need to come up with plan B and C and D. And that's not best practice. None of those are going to fall into that best practice document that you just read and quoted.
Yep. No, you're right. It just, it goes back.
That's my rant.
Well, no, it's good. For me, it goes back to just evolving. Like, I don't know. Do you know Arnie Kin from here, Vertical Measures?
Yeah, I know.
So when I say Vertical Measures, what do you think of, like, as a company? What do they do?
Arnie, they do a lot of SEO and content marketing stuff.
Perfect. I'm so glad that you answered that way because this was not set up in any way, guys. But if you remember, many, many years ago, Vertical Measures was a quote-unquote link building company. That's what they marketed. That's what they branded as. You ask them what they do? We do link building. Arnie saw the writing on the wall, and I remember having this conversation, and they made that shift. They still do the same amount of link building. They're still a very amazing link building company, but he made that pivot and that switch to go from a link building company to a content marketing SEO company. And it was brilliant. And that's all we're saying here. Arnie wasn't saying, hey guys, we're going to become a content marketing company because SEO is dead. He saw the writing on the wall that things were evolving and that things were growing. And that's, again, I don't think I have a better segue to prove my point than that. So shout out to Arnie.
Yes. Sorry, I was just trying to unmute. Yeah, I think whenever you see something that SEO is dead, there's always, and of course we'll probably catch flack for whatever title we decide on for this one.
It better not be Matt says SEO is dead. That's all I'm saying.
Totally going to say Matt's dead, and I'm going to change your ability to log into the website.
My tweets will then say Dave is dead. Just Dave is dead, period. No.
Sad panda. Whether something is dead, everything evolves, like cars. What is it? The new Galaxy phone that just came out that's ridiculously priced and has a ridiculous screen and everything. What happened to, they're going back to flip phones in some cases now, which is hilarious because everyone wanted to move away from flip phones to smartphones, but now people want something else. Everything changes. The only constant is change, I think is the saying. And I think when people freak out because Google or Bing bring out something new that impacts organic, people freak out. When LinkedIn just came out with video ads now, I think that's what it was. And Facebook comes out with some new advertising feature, or Google comes out with that you can upload email addresses and do similar lookalikes. Everyone gets excited because it's something new. On the organic side, whether it's social or SEO, everyone freaks out about something new rather than looking at the opportunity. So I think what you need to do is flip your way of thinking about changes for anything regarding, especially digital marketing or even marketing period, is look at the opportunity in what you can do now. With Knowledge Graph, it's like, oh, well, instead of just going position 1, now we can get position 0 and 1 or 0 and 2. Look at it as another way to get on a page rather than, oh gosh, now our competitors
I'm not going to be able to do it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The world is ending.
Yeah, technically the world is ending eventually, many, many thousands of years from now, hopefully. But when our star blows up, maybe millions of years. I'm not a science person, unfortunately. But I think flip your way of thinking. When Google or someone rolls out something new, look at it not for what you're losing, which can be, for some businesses, their entire way of doing things. Like, weather.com and AccuWeather and all those other weather sites are still there. Yet Google still will tell you if you do weather in Phoenix, Google will now tell you in the browser.
Yep.
Yet all of those companies are still operating, either standalone or been bought, but they're still all operating. They still have websites. You know, all of the sports sites from CBS, ESPN, Bleacher, all of them still have websites. You know, NFL and NBA still have websites. Yet if you do scores or standings, Google tells you most of that stuff.
You know, and since you brought that stuff up, it also made me think about the other kind of stuff that's involving. Like, I know so many people more and more that are just getting rid of their cable and going to, hey, I want Hulu, or I just want Amazon, or I want this, or, you know, and they can select. And I think this is amazing. I think people are basically dictating how they want to consume content nowadays, and that is a win-win for everyone in my book. You know, and so...
Unless you typically just blast everything, then yeah, you have to work a little bit harder now.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Hopefully you guys get the gist of it. And, you know, any final thoughts, Dave, or was that it?
I think my epiphany after the 20 minutes was the best way to describe it perhaps is look at the opportunity, not the loss of what that change is, or what is the change that is taking place. Don't think of what you're losing, but more instead focus on how that is new opportunities that perhaps can eclipse what you were doing before, or what traffic or what conversions you were getting before from XYZ.
Amen to that. Awesome. We do appreciate everybody listening. And just one final shout out to our sponsor before we wrap this up, the MarTech Conference. Just a reminder that we can save you 15% on that conference, whichever one you want to go to this year. But register with the promo code BizPodcast, all one word, lowercase, BizPodcast, and we will save you 15% by using that code. So obviously, for more information, go visit martechconf.com. That's martechconf.com. And for Dave Rohr with Northside Metrics, I'm Matt Siltula with Avalanche Media. And we will hit you on another one of these episodes. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Al.